I 28M was complicit in a hate crime about a decade ago. The family is looking to me for peace. This is a really hard one to explain and I can't see my therapist for a week, so I'm just trying to stay above water right now. I grew up in a really bad neighborhood with my single dad who said a lot of terrible things growing up that definitely influenced me. When I was 14 I fell into a bad group of kids that were all a couple years older than me. There were two older kids, Greg and Mike, the leaders who, I think, were 18 or 19. They did typical bad neighborhood kid things, dealt drugs, got me into alcohol and smoking, all that. One night the three of us were out and we ran into a Hispanic kid, Tom, I went to school with, who I had gotten into it with earlier that week, and said some nasty things to him. I mentioned it to G&M, who started shoving Tom. One thing led to another and Greg had Tom in a chokehold and Mike was whopping on him. I told them to stop, and Mike told me to shut the fuck up. They were doing it for me unless I wanted to trade places. I still hear those words clear as day. They were shouting all sorts of slurs at him and saying things about his family. I don't really know what happened, but something did and Tom's body went limp. G&M ran off and I was just kind of frozen in place before I ran off too. If I'm being honest, I don't really fully understand what happened after that. I was 14 and the next 6 months or so were a blur. Greg ended up in juvie and Mike just kind of disappeared. Tom didn't die, but he was paralyzed. I was really messed up in the head from it. I had a lot of therapy. I ended up dropping out of school because of the anxiety and nightmares and junk. My dad eventually moved me out of the state cause of it all and we started somewhere new, and I think that helped me move past it. I eventually got to a place where I don't dream about it, have flashbacks and stuff, but I still have a number of symptoms from PTSD. I've carried the guilt with me for a long time. Recently, I guess Tom passed away, and one of his family members reached out to me on Facebook wanting to talk to me and get an understanding of what happened that day and why. I found out that Greg died of an overdose sometime after getting out of juvie, and no one knows where Mike is. So I'm kind of the last hope for them, I guess. But I read that message and immediately I felt like that boy just watching it happen again. I had flashbacks and I started having a panic attack. It's been 3 days and I've barely slept because I keep waking up from the nightmares and everything, and I've called out of work for 3 days now. I'm probably going to get fired, but I really don't know if I can talk about it with them. I could barely write this post. I know they deserve answers, but I honestly don't know if I'll be able to give them to them, if I'm able to answer at all. I'm not looking for sympathy. I caused a terrible, shitty, horrible thing, and I deserve all the punishment I've gotten for it all these years. But I don't know what to say to this family and I could use the advice. Too long didn't read. When I 14 I caused a hate crime. The victim recently passed and the family is looking for peace through me because I'm too traumatized to talk about it in detail and I don't know what to do. Edit. Everyone is suggesting I consult with a lawyer, which feels like a really terrible thing to do, but it sounds like I'll have to get together money for a consult or something. I did this and I just want to do what is right by the family, but I'm worried I'll just fall apart and make it about myself, which they don't deserve. Thank you all. Edit 2. Someone asked me a bunch of questions privately and then suggested I add the answers here, so in black. My mom died when I was very young, which is why it's just me and my dad. We didn't move for about a year and a half after this and all the court stuff was over by then. I mentioned to Greg and Mike that Tom and I had gotten into it earlier that week and we should go somewhere else. I gave a report for what happened that night as a part of the court proceedings. And as I mentioned, I interacted a lot with social workers and I think the therapy I was in was court mandated. I don't hold the beliefs I was raised with. I left home at 18 and worked in construction and got exposure to a lot and unlearned a lot of the racist and homophobic stuff my dad taught me. I'm reading every response. Sorry I'm not responding to more, it's just hard to know what to say. I'm not a therapist, but I'm a social worker, so I can say this to you. Please do not respond to the family. You are not in a place to give them any sort of closure, especially when you have not found closure yourself. Talk to your therapist about this for sure, as they will be able to guide you properly. Forgive yourself. It seems that if you had the opportunity to ask for forgiveness you would. This is not an easy thing to do, but you need to keep working with your therapist. I recommend that you email your therapist right away. Maybe they can see you before your next session. Please don't contact them until you speak with an attorney. You have no idea of the repercussions at this point, and worst case scenario, they will come after you. You clearly stated you caused a hate crime, but in reality, those two guys committed the crime, not you. You didn't cause anything, they used you as an excuse for violence. But his family might agree with you and blame you too. So no contact unless an attorney advises it. Please. I'm glad that you understand that what happened was wrong, and it seems you are working through the guilt. What he and his family had to go through is heartbreaking. Nevertheless, I recommend you speak with a lawyer before sending anything. Doesn't even have to be a hired lawyer. Maybe just a friend who went to law school. You don't want to say something in a letter that could lead to worse consequences. This is a very different situation, but my sister was in a car accident where it was clearly the other person's fault. Nevertheless, my sister is a polite person, so she said something like, "I'm sorry this happened." The other person's lawyers tried to fight that it was my sister's fault because she admitted it by saying, "I'm sorry." Anyway, I wish you, and his family, some peace. Best. Step 1. Delete this post ASAP. Step 2. Speak with an attorney to find out what consequences there could be if you responded to the family and admitted guilt by apologizing. Step 3. Discuss with your therapist. I, 34F, am getting married in 14 weeks but having trouble figuring out how to talk to one of my bridesmaids, 33F, about something sensitive regarding her weight. I'm getting married in mid-September, and one of my bridesmaids, who is one of my oldest friends, been friends since we were in first grade, bought the bridesmaid dress back in March, but at her goal dress size 12, she's currently a size 18, but down from a size 24. She has fluctuated with her weight her entire life, and I know it's a very sensitive topic for her. I want her as my bridesmaid, no matter what her dress size is. However, I know the dress she bought does not fit her yet, and while she does have over 3 months, I don't think it's realistic that she will be in a size 12 and have time for any sort of alterations for the dress. I brought it up with her in passing when we talked about my dress and all of the fittings I'll need to do. She just brushed it off. Some additional background: when we were in college, we got into a huge fight. We didn't talk for almost a whole year because I was concerned because she gained a lot of weight her freshman year. She went from a size 10 to a size 20 in one school year, and I thought she might have a health issue like her thyroid or something, and she got so upset with me. We made up, but I have never brought up her weight again because I know she gets so upset by it. She gets enough crap from her family, who constantly hound her, and I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to upset her, but I also want her to have a dress that looks good on her as she is now. I know she has this incredible goal, and I'm so proud of her for all that she achieved over the last year, but how can I talk to her about this without coming off like a bridezilla or fat shaming? Too long didn't read. My friend for over 25 years made her bridesmaid dress for my wedding her goal dress, and I don't think she's going to reach her goal in the next 3 months to fit into the dress and get alterations. How do I talk to her about this without coming off like a fat shaming bridezilla dick? Can you realistically get her another dress in this time frame? Are they in matching dresses, like those you have to order? Don't bring up her goal weight, or her weight at all. Just email/text/whatever all the bridesmaids, collectively, and say, "Any issues with the dresses? We have 1 week left to get new dresses if we need to for sizes, stains, lost dresses, etc." Find out if this is true, obviously. Let me know, no questions asked. And then don't ask questions. If she says it got ruined in a flood, and you're in a drought, let her have her dignity. You know and she knows it's weight, but let her have this. If you can, replace it for her. If you really care for her, and just want her in your wedding, make it as low barrier as you can. Good luck and best wishes. Yes, they are matching dresses. I think I'm going to order one in her size. I'm looking at the website for the store where we bought the dresses, and if there are no alternations I can return within 90 days. So I can order and then probably return if we don't need it. Good thing is this is a dress they have in stock and not a special order, so it only takes 2 to 3 weeks to ship. Are the dresses cheap enough you can just buy an 18 and hold on to it? Just wait for her to call, then magically find it and grab it for her at a boutique? Yeah, I could do that. They are like $150, so wouldn't be totally breaking the bank. And that has already crossed my mind. I haven't read all the comments, but it's worth mentioning that if you do get a backup dress without telling her, she might react negatively regardless. You didn't trust me, you wanted me to fail, you're just like everyone else and think I'm a fat failure, etc. Have a plan on what you want to say if she does react this way. It'll likely be out of embarrassment and her own frustration. Can see how much hard work you have put in losing weight already. You're looking fantastic. I just think your goal weight is not going to be reached for the wedding, but you will get there. I want you to feel both today I fucked up and comfortable at my wedding, so I got the bigger size, just in case. Or similar. You get the idea. Didn't want you to feel let down and not feel both today I fucked up today. You've worked so hard to get healthier, and didn't want you to get discouraged if the dress you bought didn't make you feel comfortable. I would give her a call and tell her you need to have everyone's alterations done by a specific date, and make sure she doesn't feel singled out. Maybe include your other bridesmaids for like a final fitting sort of thing. Yes, we already have those timelines set, and she was supposed to schedule her first fitting by the end of June, but mentioned in passing when I was talking about my fittings that she is going to wait until she loses more weight. Maybe just buy the backup dress without saying anything, but keep encouraging her until about a month, 2 weeks. Not sure how long alterations take beforehand, and then when you're at a final dress fitting to make sure it's all good. If the original dress fits awesome, you're all good, no need to bring it up. If it doesn't, maybe pull her to the side and be like, hey, I'm so sorry, but I have backup dress just in case this situation came up. I mean, I don't have a way with words, so maybe say it in real life better than that if you can. My F29, so M37, is pro-life and thinks I am immature because I am not. Too long didn't read, so is heavily against abortion no matter what, and dismisses all arguments that counter. Help. Recently my so had an argument about what would happen if we were to find out a future baby has Down syndrome. I'm 100% pro-choice. I believe a woman knows what is best for her body and her future, and if she doesn't feel a baby, regardless of disabilities, will be a good choice, then she should be given the opportunity to terminate. However, my so is 100% against that. He believes that if a woman is having consensual sex with or without contraception, she absolutely should not get an abortion. His opinion is that the mother should not get to decide whether the baby should get to live or not. I tried to reason with him that by that logic the woman doesn't matter and that her life is less than a huddle of cells, but he does not agree. He started the argument because if I were to find out my child has chromosomal abnormalities, I would terminate, as I do not believe I would be a fit mother to raise someone with disabilities because of my own disabilities/disorders. I also do not think it would be fair on us as a family or for the child to be brought into a life of potential suffering. I tried to say that we don't know the severity of the disability, and I don't believe I would cope having to raise a child who has the potential mental capacity of a 4-year for the rest of my life. On top of that, my disorders and disabilities are also genetic and would cause a lot of issues in someone who is disabled. My so believes I am immature for believing this and selfish for thinking about myself in this situation. If I were to birth a disabled child, it would more than likely fall to me to be the full-time carer because of the job he works and the money he makes. I don't even know if I want to be his arm at this stage, as I truly love my career and have big plans to create a business with it as well. How can I explain to this exceptionally stubborn man that his opinion isn't the only one that matters?